Hello, mother. Hello, father. Here I am at Camp Granada.
For 2 months a year, Camp Iroquois Springs here in the Catskills area of New York plays host to 550 kids. Swimming, playing baseball, hanging out around their cabins, doing pretty much everything you'd expect at a summer camp.
We have everything from sports, outdoor adventure, land and field sports, soccer, hockey, basketball, tennis, baseball, volleyball, lacrosse, you name it, we do it.
But in the middle of every August, as the campers pull out, this place does a quick 180, and Camp Iroquois Springs is suddenly transformed into a meeting and conference center. Who do you cater to in the off-season?
Everything from universities and schools to organizations, affinity groups, to churches, sports organizations, weddings, family reunions, and everything in between.
Mark Newfield bought the camp nearly 10 years ago. And while he was able to do a good business catering to campers, he knew that in order to really grow his company, he'd have to turn his seasonal business into one that kept going even when the kids went back to school. When you first bought this company, what were the risks that you thought about in buying a company that was only generating revenue for 8 weeks?
Well, the risk is how do you make it through the whole year? Again, with cash flow coming in at very limited periods of time of the year, certainly expenses, whether it be debt service, operation. The risks are if your enrollment falls short of your expectation, you don't have an opportunity to recoup and to kind of make up for lost time.
Newfield quickly realized there was a market to tap in the off-season, and he wasn't shy about spending money to attract it.
We've spent about $4.5 million in capital renovations here. So that's building new buildings or a new pool or new indoor space. Each and every one of our cabins is brand new.
What did you have to do to these cabins so that they could accommodate not only the 8 weeks of summer camp, but also those other weeks of the shoulder season?
Sure. So what we did is this is really the feel that we've adopted everywhere in camp, the tongue and groove knotty pine. We raised the ceiling heights, put in new fans, new lights, new windows, all brand new beds.
So I have to imagine that during the shoulder season you don't have Miley Cyrus on the walls or the Jonas Brothers.
That's correct. You very much get the feel of a rustic country lodge.
They did the same type of renovations to the dining hall, the sports facilities, and almost every other building here on the property. So now when you're adding facilities for camp, are you also consciously thinking about how can this work when camp isn't here?
Absolutely.
And they've trained both themselves and their employees on how to deal with a new set of clients.
Instead of being a counselor, you're really a customer service agent. And for us, it's really all about servicing the customer when they're here.
During camp, it's all about being on a schedule. It's about making sure our kids are safe, they're organized, they're in the right place at the right time. Supervision is terrific. For our groups, that's on them. So I think there's a very different level of liability and sort of responsibility to that group. I want to make sure that anything that they ask, I take care of for them.
If someone wants to go sneak behind the cabin and meet someone, that's not your concern anymore?
Enjoy the Catskills and do what you got to do. Right, it's not our concern. We don't have to pick up the phone and call the parents on that one.
They also doubled the year-round staff from 2 to 4 people.
We generate on a weekly basis, probably almost any week of the year, 6 or 7 leads a week for pre- and post-camp business. So it definitely takes someone to manage that, to sell it, to market it, and to see it through. Currently,
the pre- and post-season accounts for about 15% of revenue for the company, but that percentage rises when you look at profits.
The camp model, is pretty staff intensive, facility intensive, and program driven, right? So we're running all the different activities. For our pre and post camp, the groups that come up here for a retreat, we're really providing food service and lodging, and then beyond that, most of the things they take care of on their own. So there's much greater margins when we're talking about our pre and our post-camp business.
In spite of those margins, though, both Brian and Mark say they'd never trade the 8 weeks of camp for an entire summer of pre- and post-season groups.
We're still about camp, and that's really our core business, and that's what makes this place go.
I love the kids. I love the staff. I love what I do every day. I wouldn't trade it for the world.